This is Frank Gehry, an American-Canadian architect known for his unorthodox and extremely unique designs. Gehry is also known for his use of unexpected materials in unexpected ways. He strongly believes that the artist's vision be carried through to completion in every aspect without compromise in every project. He calls this organization of the artist. Gehry's creative process is also very unique. Let's be honest, this sketch looks like something a 2-year-old could draw. What it actually is a preliminary sketch for a floor plan of a museum Gehry designed in Minneapolis. Imagining a beautiful building to somehow be created from these scribbles is somewhat hard to do. Now this drawing seems to make a bit more sense. You can see defined areas and more distinguishable shapes, rather than the scribbles most of us can't make anything of. We can see that the gray area is starting to look like it is the exterior, while the orange is the interior. Now that's better. Here's an outside perspective of the Wiseman Art Museum. Now we can clearly see his vision. Gehry is also known to produce several models in various scales of his ideas. He is quoted as saying, "I think my best skill as an architect is the achievement of hand-to-eye coordination. I am able to transfer a sketch into a model into the building." Gehry won the Progressive Architecture Design Award in 1991 for this outstanding design. It is a tourist attraction, as are most all of his works. Gehry has said that modernism inspires him, but thought that postmodernism had lost its humanity and sought to find it again. Gehry's use of fluid, organic shapes is his way of humanizing contemporary modernism. This method is what has set him apart and has starkly contrasted him with other architects of the modern persuasion, which reminds me of a famous quote, "In order to be indispensable, you must be different," which strongly applies to Frank Gehry. The Serpentine Gallery in London, England, is another unique work of Gehry's. His combination of ordinary materials and unique forms and placement make this gallery a piece of art in itself. This contemporary addition to the gallery somehow flows seamlessly with the already existing building. Of the design, Gehry states, "The pavilion is designed as a wooden timber structure that acts as an urban street running from the park to the existing gallery. Inside the pavilion, glass canopies are hung from the wooden structure to protect the interior from wind and rain and provide for shade during sunny days." This ability to relate the exterior to the interior in such a fluent, seamless way is the mark of a truly great architect or designer. The staircase in the Art Gallery of Ontario shows Gehry's trademarked curved, fluid shapes being used in the interior and still fitting in with the existing building. Here's another one of Gehry's infamous scribbles. This is a preliminary sketch for his vision for the Stata Center, part of MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. The client wanted a design that would encourage collaboration, both intellectually and socially. Not all of Gehry's creative process is scribbles and sketches, though. He developed his own CAD software based on one called Katia. Gehry says, "I started making shapes that were hard to draw. That led us to the computer and to Katia software, which made me realize the possibilities and the level and degree of accuracy you could create in your documents and your relationships because of the software." This software is called Digital Project. It allows drawings to be sent directly to the manufacturer so that several models can be made before construction. It is both simpler and more flexible than the software it was inspired by, and can be used for models for architectural design, engineering, furniture design, and more. One of Gehry's most famous works is the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao, Spain. It is considered a masterpiece of the 20th century, though it may be hard to see why because of this sketch. It was built to help rejuvenate the city by bringing in more tourist attention, and boy did it work. As soon as it was completed, it was deemed one of the world's most spectacular buildings. Gehry said the curves were intended to be random so as to reflect the light and water. Another thing that makes Gehry such an outstanding architect is that he finishes most of his projects on time, and more importantly, on budget. He says his secret is to use his organization of the artist method throughout the process. This ensures that neither politics nor business interferes with any of the building process, and that he has complete control over the project from conception to completion and everything in between. As one can easily see, Gehry favors the use of metallic and reflective materials. Part of the reason is that they are mass-produced and therefore affordable, one major way to cut project costs. This resourcefulness is another factor that sets Gehry apart in his very own category. Though he has achieved starchitecture status, success did not always come easy for Gehry. Much of his early work was heavily criticized. His first home in Santa Monica was hated by neighbors. His works have also been criticized as being wasteful and the shapes being meaningless. However, if architecture is art, and art is meant to provoke, no one can say that Gehry has failed. And it seems as though some things come full circle. Gehry's recent proposed design for condos and a mixed-use development in his hometown of downtown Toronto has had some critics giving scathing reviews. Some have suggested that the white strips inspired by crinkled paper resemble strands of toilet paper. Despite the critics, 84-year-old Gehry's career is as thriving and exciting as ever. As if designing some of the world's most famous buildings wasn't enough, Gehry also has a talent for creating furniture, house goods, and even jewelry. In 2006, he teamed with prestigious jewelry company Tiffany to make an exclusive and stunning jewelry collection. Gehry is a great role model for design students in that he does not let opinions or restrictions destroy his ideas, which we all know is something that happens easily. He shows us that regulations and rules should improve our problem solving and make us push ourselves creatively. Next time you're stuck on a design, take it back to the basics and scribble it out like Frank Gehry.